What's the dumbest rule you've ever been caught breaking? I was 19 and had to show up to court over a minor fender bender. Just a bent bumper and some scratched paint. Civil case stuff. Nothing serious, but I was nervous. I'd never been in a courtroom before, and the whole place felt intimidating. Dark wood panels, massive US flag behind the judge, everyone whispering like it was church. I sat in the back row waiting for my name to be called. Right before my case, the judge was handling one about an old man, Walter, being sued by his HOA. Walter looked like he was in his 70s. Thin white hair, wearing this old brown jacket that looked like it had been folded into the shape of a chair for 20 years. He shuffled his stack of papers nervously in his lap. The HOA had sent in this woman who looked like she walked off a corporate brochure. Navy blue suit, glossy folder, the kind of voice that sounded like it had a default PowerPoint rhythm. She laid it out. Walter owed $3,000 in fees and fines, 8 months of unpaid dues, grass too long, mailbox the wrong shade of beige, a cracked garden gnome, I kid you not. They wanted to foreclose on his house, one he'd lived in for 40 freaking years. The judge turned to Walter and asked him to speak. He stood up slowly, voice trembling but steady enough to get through it. He said his wife Helen had passed the year before, cancer. She used to handle the bills, the HOA notices, all of it. After she died, he just sort of stopped functioning. Letters piled up on the kitchen table. He was still grieving, still waking up thinking she'd be in the kitchen making tea. He explained that he was living on Social Security and barely scraping by. He didn't ignore the rules on purpose. He just got lost in it all. He just wanted to stay in the home he and Helen raised their kids in. That's when the HOA lawyer cut in like a knife. Said grief wasn't an excuse, that homeowners are expected to comply regardless of personal hardship. Walter's hands were shaking. I could see the tears in his eyes from where I was sitting. I don't think he even knew how to argue back. He just stood there clutching his papers while that lawyer rattled off bylaws like a robot. The judge looked at both of them for a long time. Then he turned to the lawyer and said, "You know, rules matter, but so does compassion." He said the fees were excessive, the foreclosure threat was absurd, and that Walter would be put on a $50 per month plan for his basic dues. No foreclosure, no court fees. He told Walter to take care of himself and thanked him for showing up. Walter's whole body changed, like someone took a backpack of bricks off his shoulders. He actually smiled. First time I saw it since the whole thing began. I don't know what came over me. I just clapped, twice, soft. Just a little good job kind of clap. It wasn't loud, just instinct. It felt right. The courtroom was dead quiet, and I immediately felt eyes on me. That's when the bailiff, big dude with a face like a tire iron, stomped over and leaned in. "No clapping in court," he growled. I apologized instantly, said I didn't know, swore it wouldn't happen again. He nodded and walked off, so I figured that was it. 10 minutes later, my case gets called. The judge starts it off by talking about my clapping, says it showed a lack of courtroom decorum, and that this is a court of law, not a theater. I tried to explain, respectfully, that I was just moved by the previous case, but he wasn't having it. "Let that be a lesson," he said. "You don't applaud justice, you observe it." The car accident thing went fine. The other driver and I sorted it out civilly, no drama. But as I was walking out, the bailiff handed me a paper. Contempt of court, $75 fine, for 2 claps. I was stunned, couldn't believe it, but what was I gonna do? I paid it 2 weeks later and figured that was the end of it. 3 months go by. I get this official-looking letter from the clerk's office. Thought it was junk or maybe some late notice. Almost tossed it, but I opened it. Inside, a check for $75 and a short type note. Turns out, a retired judge had seen security footage of the hearing and filed a formal complaint to the Judicial Review Board. Said the contempt ruling was an abuse of authority and that my behavior didn't remotely merit punishment. The board agreed, refunded my money, and issued an official warning to the judge. All that for clapping.